repeating it, because we need to get it in our heads. So I am not saying that all that I keep enforcing commandment keeping, law keeping, not law keeping as in the Old Testament, as required under the New Testament. This is not enough. That is the starting point. Because all the churches in Revelation 2:3 were basically commandment-keeping churches. And these things are not actual commandments that God said He has against them, are they? Because just two churches were able to identify the Jews who were not Jews. So something like 70% of the churches weren't able to identify them. So the people who think that I'm saying is as long as you keep the commandments, you're going to be raptured away and be part of the kingdom. I'm saying no such thing. We have to listen to and obey. And commandment keeping is just the beginning. You see, because of our rebellion, we've seen that God's going to fight against His church. That's not what He wants. Nobody wants to go and fight against their bride. I'm going to get married to little Miss Pretty. She's wonderful and beautiful. But you know what? I want to have a real fight with her. Does that make sense? But God has got to have a clean, a spotless, without blemish bride and wife. And we keep referring to Deuteronomy 28, but we need to read it there, because the blessings and the curses are there. And in verse 20, verse 45, verse 51 and verse 61, you will find it. If you don't obey what I say, you will be destroyed. Is it any different to what I'm saying here now? In Revelation 2 and 3? Of course it's not. I will come unto thee quickly, and will fight against them with the sword of my mouth. I will kill her children with death. Oh dear. It's just, I just find it sad. I really, really do. Now, because of this link up between the churches and the synagogue of Satan, we have found ourselves in a right hole, a deep hole, and we are digging it deeper every day. You know, Israel, the nation down in Palestine calling itself Israel, is supremely rich. It has vast natural resources. Just 20 years ago it was reckoned that the wealth in the Dead Sea alone exceeded the wealth of the United States. But the Christians are merely pumping their money into Israel, supporting it. The two presidential candidates, well, all of them, are saying they will support Israel to the end. They don't know what they're talking about. I've got a video. Who rules the world? Not too many people watch it. They need to watch it though. More people are interested in the rapture, trying to escape. There's nowhere to run. It's the basest of men, and the basest of men will rule over us until we are destroyed. You know, we have been so blessed. We have been so blessed. We don't even know it. We've got so many goods around us, so many things around us. You see, and this is the church. I'm not talking about the world. Revelation 2:3 isn't talking about the world out there. That's a different issue. Look, listen to the church of the Laodiceans. Verse 15, I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot. Lukewarm water is horrible to drink. Hot water can be like a drink. Cold water can be refreshing. But lukewarm is... So then, because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. Why? Because thou sayest, I am rich and increased with goods, and have need of nothing. Of course, the people are telling me this all the time. They're comfortable. Don't rock the boat, Peter. We're comfortable, man. I know we haven't got a lot of this, but, as I say, we've got our freezer full of food, our telly, our car, you know, and we're able to go on holiday every so often. Just keep quiet, eh? Don't disturb our peace. It says, you have need of nothing, and knowest not that thou art miserable, wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked. Spiritual poverty. Bankrupt. We are spiritually bankrupt. Christ is not going to marry a spiritually bankrupt bride. It's not going to happen. He says in verse 18, this is Revelation 3, I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayst be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayst be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear. Well, I think I have to tell you that there are going to be an awful lot of naked people going around. Well, you know, what goes on in the world mimics what is happening in the churches. And I tell you, we got a lot of half-dressed and more than half-dressed people walking around the place on television. Slightest opportunity, we're taking our clothes off. But you see, it says, knowest not that thou art wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked. So, can the people in the churches understand about those who are Jews and say they are not Jews? This is important, because they're affecting the entire world situation. They really are. In collusion with Babylon, who is at the very top of the pile, as we have explained, you know, they are controlling the situation. But you see, unless you qualify as a servant, and to be a servant, you have to be obedient. You have to be listening to God. If you're not listening and obeying, you're not going to understand. And you're going to lead your flocks astray, as it says in Ezekiel 34. So this is why I'm encouraging all of you to start looking for yourself. As I said, I have no notes here. I'm not saying it to brag. Because God will make it clear to you. The things you need to know, that's important. I know there are people who are going to say, oh, we can explain Revelation, and they get into Daniel, and they get into this kingdom and that kingdom. Very nice. But it's not actually affecting your living.